Good morning. First of all, thank you very much for having and inviting us. And to start off with the building up of digital brands, I have to first explain why no benchmarks. Digital brands, there are no marketing books, there are no existing established consultancies or even advertising agencies that have helped us to develop something that has been able to find a life story in now 10 years. I think the reason why we were able to become a digital brand is because we have not only redefined the industry in which we are, but we also have redefined ourselves constantly to get there, and we have redefined the perception of the industry of which we are part. So let me take you through the case story bwin. Who is bwin? It's, at the moment, a publicly listed company that offers very high-value gaming entertainment on a multinational level. It is the largest and most innovative player in its own niche environment. It has an incredible transaction infrastructure that securely performs 115 different payment methods of millions of accounts in real time. So it's a technical platform. It's a very blue-chip product, and it's a global mover and shaker. And that's the reason why I'm doing this also in English, because being a global mover, it's our company language, and anything in the web should be global. But as every good story, it had a beginning. Sorry, this is too early. This was my fault. Because sorry, it was my mistake. As most of you might not know bwin, I just would like to take you into a small tour into our product. But where did it all start? It started in the year 1999 with two very young, idealistic, young Austrians that had one mission. They wanted to make money in the internet, and as easy as that. They started a garage kind of startup company in a time where most of the global digital brands and all the web companies were about to be doomed. With those 12 enthusiastic people, right away from the beginning, we were able to redefine whatever we were going to do. We redefined the sports betting as such, because after our IPO in the year 2000, we established for the first time sports betting in the internet. Until then, it was the typical planification of going to your store and making your bet before the game started. With online sports betting, we attracted a completely new audience. We kept on innovating ourselves, because in the year 2001, we were the first one to create a fully web-supported betting service. The year after that, we revolutionized sport betting by inventing live betting, which is completely different. It is an instant gratification, and it enables you, while you're watching a game, to still be involved through your betting attitude. The year after, we extended our product portfolio by poker and skill games, knowing that it has a certain familiarity in the offer that we were offering at that time. But getting to that far in the year 2005, we were fully convinced that we had to change. The market was extremely competitive, and the only way of keeping above and being the leader of the category, we had to move forward. So what we wanted is to become, or to find an angle to make a sustainable differentiation. So we want to look to become a brand and to shift from being just a sports bettor in the internet to become a leader in a customer perception, being a house of games. And here you have to dwell a little bit on the word games, the house of games, meaning it is the entertainment you have while you play the game, and it's not the result of what you are going to have. So having said so, we knew that we had to move not only from gaming, we had to go away from gambling, because gambling was the burden that we had. Gambling was the perception of sleaziness and not really fitting to what the digital mobile consumer were looking for. So we said we're going to be much more than gambling. We're going to be gamers. We're going to go from something that is being driven by the reward of money to something that is offering the entertainment while you're doing so. So making this shift, which is an incredible shift for the business out of which we came, because the money was coming from a very few customer base that was spending a lot of money by doing what they were doing. Moving from gambling to gaming, we went from a niche market to a mass market. We went from focusing on stakes, which is the reward you're getting, to the game. Game meaning it's the entertainment value versus the reward. We went from few to many, and we went, which is business-wise the most critical point, from a high margin per customer to a lower margin. So the only way to cope with that was to have a growth potential. It was going from money instinct gambling to play instinct gaming, which was extremely difficult because also it had to change the whole perception we had of our own business and the way we behaved ourselves within that business. We went also to extend our target audience. We knew that sports bettors are a limited percentage of population, it's not growing. So we went for the far bigger piece of the cake, which is the online gamers, which are defined by people who spend time in the internet for entertainment purposes. And within that, we were just a little niche. I mean, real money gaming is less than 10% of the whole online gaming market, but it's constantly growing. We knew that it was key that people were already using credit cards in the internet, otherwise they would never play for money. And it was a database and a consumer base that is driven by high recommendation and reputation tools, which is key. If you want to survive in the web, you need reputation because it's the user that is the messenger of your services and the qualification of if your services are suited or not. But all of this, so changing the target audience and broadening up the category, had one reason, because we had one target, one mission: to become an ultimate brand. And we know that in the digital environment, the only way to become a brand is if you package and deliver solutions to day-to-day problems in a unique way. If you start a category by yourself, because you have been able to package a solution to a day-to-day problem, you can also own the category. We wanted to be the ultimate brand, just as Google is the ultimate search engine, as eBay is the ultimate marketplace, and Wikipedia is the ultimate knowledge bank. We wanted to become the ultimate thrill station, because what we were offering was a thrill and adrenaline kick while you were playing. But to get there, to become a brand, we had to do one fundamental shift. We had to redefine ourselves. Because with the name Bet and Win, which is descriptive, it's discountage, and it served the purpose for a startup, but it's not capable to carry emotion to become a brand. So we knew that we had to create a brand name, and we took one that was inherent in everything we had. We just left out what was not needed. But at that time, it was the biggest enemies were our shareholders and public opinion, because they were just going like, they are nuts. They're going to ruin all the capital they have invested in Bet and Win. They are killing a success story. So it was to make sure that everybody knew why we were doing it. We produced a film to better package our thoughts and our reasoning behind this. And this was shown at the general annual meeting, where we need to get the approval to change the name.
Okay, for the film you are watching now, I'll stick to the advice of Ernest Hemingway. Writers should write standing up at a desk so they come up with shorter sentences. Okay, I'll keep it short. What do they say? Short and sweet. So what about length? Wouldn't that have to be the other way around?
I have no idea.
Long and sour? In any case, if what is short is supposed to be positive, then what is long must be negative, right? I mean, who wants to watch a soccer game that drags on and on?
Eigentlich das Peinlichste, was einem hier in Spanien passieren kann.
Or who wants to watch one of these boring starting line to finish line victory Formula One races in lanes where you can't even pass the other cars? And after all, according to Voltaire, the ability to predict everything is the secret to boredom. Although I doubt that what Voltaire had in mind in the 18th century was an automobile race through Monaco or a soccer game in Gijón. In any case, be concise and you'll be understood, as what's his name once said. I can't remember, I think it was a proverb. He was concise. I mean, Hello Berlin would have been a bit too short, but I think the words of John F. Kennedy wouldn't have been half as famous if he had said, I am the President of the United States of America, and today as I stand here at the lectern in this divided city, I feel myself to be a citizen of Berlin. Arthur Schopenhauer would have said that every superfluous word is counterproductive, even though he certainly wasn't thinking of an American president's visit to Berlin. One of the great defenders of brevity was German Chancellor Willy Brandt, who once said, the second best speeches are the short ones, and the best speeches are the ones that are never given at all. So that was probably the best speech he ever gave. Do you think this gentleman by the name of Edson Arantes do Nascimento could ever have become world famous? Brevity is the sister of talent, is what Anton Chekhov would say. It has to be short to be remembered. Maybe that's why companies like American Express, Federal Express, and United Parcel Service have shortened their names. Other brands manage to make mouths water with just one letter. Still others give up writing altogether and only use just a symbol, and it works. I mean, would you be able to find your way around in India on the streets, in the airport, or in the bathroom if everything was signposted? Has it ever occurred to you that there are companies whose names have become everyday words like eBay or Google or Tempo? I think you can say you're a winner if you've come that far. And if Plato had had any notion of the betting business in the 21st century, he would have recommended changing the name Bet and Win to Be-Win, with the words, I'm proud that nobody else can say it as short as I can.
Was one of the biggest steps. It was an operational nightmare. At that time, we were 1,300 people in 3 locations, Stockholm, Gibraltar, and Vienna. And we changed shortly after the World Championship, which is about the worst highway time, where we have systems where we have 2 million people concurrently betting on the site, to change up to 8,000 applications within 24 hours. It was, we didn't have any downtimes, and it was the shift of the logo itself was done in a real conducted digital nightmare. But it was more than that. It was implementing a customer experience in our total management behavior. Until then, everything was decided by the product. The product management built the site, and they decided what is going out and how it's going to look. And it was very heavy. It was the product was basically the denominator of all our management decisions, and that had to change. So customer experience was key, because the products that we have can be copied. We know that better than anywhere else. They're not differentiator, and they are commodities. There is nothing new about poker, sports betting, and skill games. But it's only the customer experience and the way it is being presented that makes the difference. So after having rebranded the outside world, which also implied, of course, all the sponsor boards that we had out there, we needed to redesign the inside. We had to integrate emotion into our product, which is hard enough if you think of the complexity that this system has. And building in emotion in an existing product that was successful was also something that gave us the strength to go forward. Because if you can convince your own product teams that there is more that they cannot decide, and marketing is going to be involved in the design and the features that are shown on a website, you have a tough job to do. But having said all of that, it is not what we think that we are, and it's not you that decide what they want, it's they tell you what they think you are. So the customer perception, and especially a unified customer perception, is key, especially as a digital brand, because there's so many ways. You're not just classically advertising. It's not like most of the old consumer brands where advertising campaigns can make a brand. Here the brand is how it talks to the consumer in its customer service, how a direct mail looks, how does this brand behave off and online. So to make sure that all this communication comes out of one single messaging and one single authentic tone, we had to develop a strategy. A strategy that defines that BWin is the ultimate thrill station, it's the desired image for modern gladiators. Modern gladiators is the psychographic descriptive of those people that like to play for real because they know that they trust on their skills and they want to show off that they can do it better by competing with others. Offering them the possibility to outplay every day, the consumer insight that we found out, it's very hard nowadays to outplay yourself. And this is one of the main drivers that people are spending so much time in the internet because they want to challenge themselves and see if they're good enough to survive. To get the real ego kick, the consumer benefit, by playing for real. And the reason why play for real, we took it as our claim. We took a claim that is inherent in our industry because everybody who has played in the web knows there's a play for fun button and there's a play for real button. We took the claim inherent in the category and made it ours because we want to own this category that we have opened and renewed. To be able to transmit this, we also try to become much more relevant to a far bigger target audience. And I will show you now one of the first executions that went out after this repositioning, mainly for the German market, because we were doomed to be closed there again.
Enough is enough. Enough with the manicures, the pedicures, and the smelling like sweet, sweet flowers. We refuse to believe that men like to make themselves ridiculous. Real men are loud. They shout, they yell. They build things and break things. We want our men back! Men need challenges. Men need victory. Let the boys play. Let them play. Let them play.
But with the launch of BWin and the repositioning, we also established a brand focus model. Brand management has been inherent in the whole management strategies and development and decision-making process up to date. But being a brand-focused company also told us that we have to make the final shift in our marketing perception, because we had come from a product-centric approach, which is sports betting in the internet, being the best of your category, to go to a brand-centric, which was when we started to establish the play for real as the key driver to challenge our customers. But we had to move farther up, because as we all know, the services and products rendered in the internet are only as good as customer acceptance is given. So if you don't put the user into the main driver of your business, you will not survive in the web. But having said so, we also could not stand up to exist in classical advertising with the amount spent by other branded goods. So we had to make our communication look much more digital. We knew we cannot keep on communicating like this because we could be confused with an offline brand. We have to be purely and exclusively addressing the online gamers. So whatever we look and brand out there has to have that digital widget look. For that also we used our in-house produced technology. It is a widget layered video driving producing engine, which we call Shiva. And the Shiva technology is also able to push information out of our engine on a day-to-day basis, but make it also look in a very precise digital aesthetics, which is ownable by bwin.
He said he's the best player in the world. Well, I mean, tonight's his chance to show everybody that, you know, he is right up there and he can do the business. Vidic is out. We know O'Shea and Evans are in.
bwin. Sports. Poker.
But this digital look is not only done for TV, it can be used on banners, it can be used on all kinds of communication that we have out there. But let's face it, bwin is not tangible, it is just a digital service. And as a consumer brand, the only way to survive is if you have a clear place in consumers' mind. You have to be top of mind. Offline brands have it a lot easier. They can take all their tangible heritage and bring it online, and that's what most of them are also doing. But offline brands can only survive if they are being talked about in the offline world. So you have to become relevant outside of the web to sustain. Having said so, we also know out of our brand tracking that we are conducting now for already 5 years in 7 key European countries, that the only business driver as a digital brand is brand awareness. So we use our brand tracking in the heavy core user group, so only people that are actually interested in playing poker, casino, skill games, and sports betting off and online. And we have been able to manage over the last years that we are now at the moment in consumer perception the top of mind #1 online brand if it comes to play for real. This is something that for us was a big surprise also because we didn't have any benchmarks, and Morgan Stanley just confirmed it, that it was for the first time that in such a conflicted and niche market it was able to build up a customer perception outside of the web, because digital brands, as I said before, need to be relevant in the offline world. To sum it up, what we did is, as an umbrella brand, so we went from being just a product brand to a house of games, and not as merely product specialists, which are most of our competitors still. We adopted a user-centric approach, and we have been able to manage to be relevant in every category. So it was not just sports betting, it is poker, because once you are aware and you have a top-of-mind acceptance in the mind of the consumers and they trust you only then if you have a clear personality, they are willing to play other games that you are offering. To become what we are now, a real online gaming brand. But how did we do it? We defined it basically by an attitude. An attitude that is all about having the guts to believe in your vision, try to constantly redefine yourself, and even give yourself the possibility to fail and learn out of your failures. It is a balance between risk management and having fun, which is the attitude that is also inherent with the playing for real attitude. And that's why I think we have been able to have an emotional value outside, because we have been true and authentic to this kind of attitude.
The bwin Manifesto. Man was born to play. Playing is an instinct and a necessity that we need to satisfy in order to lead a happy and fulfilled life. Without playing, we lack the essential part of the human experience. So go out and tap an old lady on the far shoulder and watch her turn the wrong way. Or chuck a burger at a broker. Trust us, it's hilarious. Nothing is worth anything if it's not about something. The richest experiences are those where we stood to lose something before we gained something. If nothing is at stake, nothing can be won. Because it just doesn't feel like it counts if it isn't gained at some cost, or at least some potential cost. Life is way more fun when you let your pants down. The greatest risk is a life of safety and security. Every day can be great. Every day can be hell on earth. Let monotony into your life and the numbness will set in so fast it'll make your eyes swim. Unless, of course, we're talking about online gaming. Here, security rocks. Like at BWin, safest place on earth. You wild thing, you. There is no opponent greater than the self. Overcoming oneself is more difficult, but also nobler than overcoming another. It is the path that leads to personal growth. It's no accident the battle against the self is the stuff of the Greek tragedy or the modern comedy. Who will you be, Oedipus or Mr. Bean? Guts never lie. There is such a thing as being too intellectual or too emotional. There is no such thing as being too instinctual. Staying in touch with the animal inside makes people interesting, powerful, sexy, and able to make the right decisions without hesitation. You can see it in their eyes. Beware. Fuck luck. Luck is for sissies. Real men trust their own abilities and skills to get things done. Either you know what you're doing or you don't. And if you don't, you probably shouldn't be doing it. It is important to do things that aren't that important. It's just a game. It's only fun. But without letting go of everyday worries every now and then, without the occasional release from serious things, well, we just might die. And you know you don't want that.
So whatever we've done, we did it different. We have redefined the category. We redefined the target audience. We moved far beyond our borders. We have been fighting constraints. We have been fighting monopolies. But we have always tried to do it in a way we believe in, because we think that playing for real is something that can be handled as a safe form of entertainment, and we will take care of the safety. But there is no benchmark and there is no book that tells you how to get there. You have to be faithful to your own vision, to your entrepreneurship, and while you do so, you have to have